Good evening, everyone. I hereby call the regular meeting of the Administrative Appeals Board of August 28th, 2024 to order. Board Secretary, please conduct a roll call.
Board Member Heine.
Aye.
Board Member Herman.
Present.
Board Member Coran.
Present.
Vice Chair Parker.
Here.
And Chair Vasily.
Here.
5 members present.
Okay, so the first item that we're going to address is the presentation. Our first item is presentation by the Assistant Director of the Office of Special Programs, Patrick Clifford. He will be presenting the functions of their department pertaining to the Administrative Appeal Board. Patrick, you want to start?
Yes, good evening. Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, board members. My name is Patrick Clifford with the Department of Special Program Compliance. And I wanted just to present a brief presentation of our department. We do have new members on the board, so I just kind of really wanted to introduce ourselves as a Department of Special Program Compliance. And while you mostly see our faces here at the Appeals Board, doesn't mean we're going to be the only faces you see here at the Appeals Board. There is a variety of matters that may be in the city that could come before the Appeals Board, but with our program overseeing vacation rental compliance, code compliance, and cannabis enforcement, a lot of those activities will be brought to the Appeals Board for your review. So I think up on the monitor is the presentation, so I'll go ahead and get started with this. So, and as I mentioned, just a quick introduction, overview of our vacation rental program, and then the additional department oversights within our scope as the Department of Special Program Compliance. So here in the city of Palm Springs, the vacation rental program is currently under ordinance 2075. And you can find it in our municipal code under chapter 5.25 vacation rentals. Within this framework, there is strict regulated guest requirements, such as no music at a vacation rental when a guest is there, or parking requirements was one car per bedroom. And there's also strict regulated owner requirements. For example, entering into a written contract with the guests or submitting contract summaries to the department officials, and then also submitting a monthly transient occupancy tax. So there's good requirements for both the guests and the owners to perform during a short-term stay. It's important to know that a vacation rental is defined here in the city of Palm Springs is defined as a period of 28 consecutive days or less. Anything more than that, 28 nights or longer, we consider a long-term stay, and nothing that's really in the purview of the vacation rental ordinance itself. Related to matters that you may typically see here at the Appeals Board is relating to certificate suspensions or certificate denials or certificate revocations. And the certificate, I might say, is the vacation rental permit that each registered operator receives. It's an annual permit that they have to renew annually, but we call it a certificate as it's defined in the ordinance. So from an enforcement view, looking at a suspension, there's two routes really that are from an administrative perspective. We will suspend a vacation rental certificate. There is a 6-month suspension and there's a 2-year certificate suspension. Usually when it's related to a 6-month suspension, that's a violation from an owner that they fail to either submit a contract summary to the city prior to the occupancy of their guest stay, or they fail to remit tax timely to the city of Palm Springs. A 2-year suspension is really mostly generated from, I guess it could be both. It could be from guest violations or owner violation, but really what our ordinance says is that at any vacation rental property, when there is 3 violations reported to the property within a 12-month period, we will suspend the certificate for a period of 2 years. And so those could be 3 violations from guests that played music, 3 separate situations. It could be 1 guest violation and 2 owner violations. It could be either of those situations, but if there are 3 violations within a 12-month period, we will suspend the certificate for 2 years. Another matter that might come forward is relating to a denial. primarily what we present to the board is when we find owners operating without a vacation rental certificate. That's what we're really denying them the access to have a vacation rental certificate, because the penalty for operating a vacation rental without a certificate is permanent ineligibility to operate a vacation rental in the city of Palm Springs. So if they would come to apply for a vacation rental certificate, we would deny them that. There is also other times we might deny a certificate, specifically maybe with relation to renewals. If an owner that currently has a certificate come to renew, or they're brand new and we found that there's conflicting information relating to there's a covenant on the land that says they can't do vacation rentals, or they have a financial interest in another vacation rental, we would simply deny them that certificate. Again, any denial of a certificate can be appealed to the Administrative Appeals Board. And then there's revocation. That's more like a specific action taken by our staff. When we see a revocation, it's really that we did find some information that led us to the revocation. Again, it could be a covenant. For example, if we find that in the title records there was a covenant that said they couldn't do short-term rentals, we would have to revocate the certificate. Or if they've had a violation and they're currently suspended, and then we find them operating without a certificate, then thus they're now permanently ineligible to operate a vacation rental. So then we have to revocate their current certificate that's in suspension. So those are the three types of matters that would lead either to a suspension or a denial or a revocation of a vacation rental certificate.
Patrick, may I ask you a question about the first bullet in denial?
Mhm.
So is that, let me see if I get the right. Somebody applies for a certificate and then we find out that they're already, they put the ad up already, it's already being advertised and the certificate hasn't been issued yet. Is that an example of that?
Right, where they found operating without a certificate. So that means they don't have a certificate registered with the city. There's an advertisement up. Our code compliance department investigated, found that they were operating the vacation rental, and then we issued a citation.
Okay, thank you.
And so from our perspective of how it comes from us to the appeals board is there's a citation that's issued in most cases, or a decision made if it was denied in our office. Then the owner or the person affected they would file an appeal with the city of Palm Springs. We receive that appeal, we draft a staff report, then the appeal hearing is conducted, and then a resolution is adopted. Other matters outside of what we do for vacation rentals is we do have a cannabis program, which is chapter 5.55 of our Palm Springs Municipal Code. And really the matters are related to enforcement orders by code compliance. I think we've had a couple come to the appeals board in previous the last year or so. We do have code compliance orders come in, specifically nuisance abatement orders or any other code enforcement orders. The person aggrieved can appeal to the Administrative Appeals Board. And another program we do oversee that it's not as popular maybe as vacation rentals is our managed parking program, specifically with pedicabs. In the ordinance, it does state that if we do revoke a permit for a pedicab, they can appeal to the Administrative Appeals Board. That's it, just a quick overview of what our department entails. Like I said, bulk of our administrative efforts is with vacation rental compliance related to the Administrative Appeals Board, but we do have other programs that might bring matters going forward. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Patrick. That's good. Okay, our next item is the acceptance of the agenda. The board can discuss and amend the order of the agenda. If there's any discussion regarding the agenda, anyone? I'd like to entertain a motion and a second for acceptance of the agenda.
I'll move to accept.
I'll second.
Okay. Board Secretary, please take the vote.
Vice Chair Parker,
Aye.
Board Member Herman,
Aye.
Board Member Hine,
Aye.
Board Member Green,
Aye.
and Chair Vasily.
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Great. So next item is the public comment. This time has been set aside for members of the public to address the board on items of general interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. 3 minutes will be assigned to each speaker. Although the board values your comments pursuant to the Brown Act, the board generally cannot take any action on items not listed on the posted agenda. Testimony for hearings will only be taken at the time of the hearing. Board Secretary, please begin the public comment.
We do have one public commenter who's online, Francine McDougal. If you desire to speak, you hereby accept and acknowledge that your testimony shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Hi, yes, I do.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Hi, AAB. My name is Francine McDougal. I am a board member of VRON, Vacation Rental Owners and Neighbors in Palm Springs. Some of you may be familiar with us. Because I only have a few minutes, I'll keep it as brief as I can. I wanted to comment on a few things that I noticed at last month's appeals board hearing. I've been attending the appeals board hearings for multiple years now, on a regular basis. And there were a few things that came up last month that I was a bit concerned about. One was that the appeals board counsel stated that in a situation where you have maybe an apartment or a house that's being rented full time and the renter is subletting it as a vacation rental, a short-term rental, that the citation would still go to the owner. And there is actually precedent that the appeals board has not done that in the past, actually the not so distant past, where they ended up citing the renter, the full-time renter, and not the owner. And I just wanted to mention that because there is a precedent that the board has ruled the other way, maybe more than once. And so I'm mentioning that for discussion. And then I also wanted to mention about an actual item that an appeal that happened last month, where it was a deceased estate of a woman, and her son, I believe, was doing the appeal. And because the property was still owned by the deceased woman and not her son, I believe the chair told the son that he was the one who was permanently banned for operating a short-term rental illegally. Whereas in this case, it should have been the mother, even though she is deceased, she is the one that is permanently banned, not the son. So I wanted to mention that. And then finally, I have noticed when people are told that they lose their appeal and they're permanently banned from short-term rentals or 6-month suspension. And you guys, which is great, always tell them that they can rent long-term. I just want to be clear that the amount of days is 29 days or more. So in the ordinance, what qualifies as a month is 29 days, or in the travel industry jargon, which normally goes by nights, it's 28 nights. So if you could please stick to 29 days or 28 nights, because I often hear 28 days, 30 days, 30 nights, like variations on this theme. And I just feel like it should be the correct amount that's told to these people, because these people clearly aren't looking at the ordinance and don't know. And when you guys give them the wrong number of days or nights.
Okay, thanks, Francine. Your time is up, but thank you for bringing those points up. I appreciate it. Is that something that we can come up with discussion? Because I don't know who sets those, the time as far as the dates, 28 days.
It's not,
It's in the code.
Chair, it's not a matter that's on the agenda for discussion, so it's not something that you can discuss tonight. If you
Okay.
want to.
Yep.
Agendize it, it would need to be agendized so you could have a discussion.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. So next item is number 5 on the agenda concerning the property at 1388 South Farrell Drive. It's an appeal of $2,500 and administrative decision of a 6-month suspension. of the vacation rental registration certificate. Board Secretary, please ensure that the city staff and the appellant understand that their testimony is under oath.
We do have signed affidavits from city staff in person. The appellant is supposed to be on Zoom, who desires to testify under this appeal hearing. Under the laws of perjury, if you choose to speak, you hereby accept and acknowledge that your testimony shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Great, thank you. Can we get city staff to please present your report?
Yes, good evening. Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, board members. My name is Patrick Clifford with the Department of Special Program Compliance, and we oversee the vacation rental program here in the city of Palm Springs. Before you this evening, there's a staff report for the property located at 1388 South Farrell Drive. It's found the owner of this property located at 1388 South Farrell Drive did not file contract summary as required for any guest stay for 28 days or less, and was issued an administrative citation for failing to submit the contract summaries. The Vacation Rental Ordinance 2075 does require that a contract summary is submitted prior to each short-term guest stay. And this allows to enforce the contract limitations, allotments that are allowed for each vacation rental to use throughout a calendar year. Currently, the ordinance says that there's an owner can rent 26 times in a calendar year. However, we do have properties that are grandfathered that can do more than that. But the contract summaries is a vital important part of our ordinance to make sure that the ordinance is being followed and the use of such vacation rentals are within limitations as described by the code. The department does notify owners at the time of application of the requirement to that they must submit a vacation contract summary. On page 2 on your staff report, you'll notice there's a screenshot of the application where the owner would initial, understanding that there is a requirement to submit a contract summary. I believe it's the second initial on that page that you see that there's an initial that says prior to each occupancy, the owner and agent shall enter into a written contract with a responsible person 25 years of age and older. Contract should include all requirements in the Palm Springs Municipal Code 525. The owner or agent shall ensure that the summary of each such written contract is filed as required of the Department of Special Program Compliance prior to occupancy. In addition, there's a how-to video. Please follow this link, which they can select to see a video of how to submit such contract summary. Additional, there's a second notification that is sent to the owner once the vacation rental certificate is approved. An email was sent by staff on June 20th, 2024 at 11:36 a.m. With the below information. As shown with the below information that's on page 3. That's a screenshot of in our system. It shows when emails were sent and when they're specifically opened. In this case, that email was opened on July 23rd, 2024. That is also the letter that was emailed to the owner explaining the requirement to do contract summaries, also as shown on attachment 5 in your staff report. The officer that did investigate the property that led to the issuance of the citation is here this evening to provide further testimony of what led to the issuance of the citation. Inevitably, after the citation was issued, we did issue a 6-month suspension of the vacation rental certificate. And I would like to also, that started on August 19th, 2024. And I would like to introduce Officer Whittaker to provide further testimony. Thank you.
Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the board, fellow city staff, and members of the public present for this evening's hearing. My name is Jason Whittaker. I'm a code compliance officer for the city of Palm Springs. On January 6th, On Saturday, July 6th, 2024, while serving as the on-call official responsible for vacation rentals in the city of Palm Springs, I received a citizen complaint via the City of Palm Springs Vacation Rental Inquiry Request website concerning loud music coming from the backyard of the property located at 1388 South Farrell Drive. Before I departed my office, I searched the city's record-keeping database to determine whether a contract summary submission was on file for this guest stay, and I could not locate one. I then responded to the property, arriving at approximately 12:17 PM, where I was able to substantiate the music complaint. During my investigation, I was able to use my department issued cell phone application, Shazam, to detect the song that was playing while I stood at the property line. That screenshot can be found as in attachment number 5, page 48 of the staff report. I then made contact at the front door of the residence and spoke with a gentleman who stated he had rented the property for a 3-night stay with a check-in date of Friday, July 5th, 2024, and a checkout date of Monday, July 8th, 2024. During my interaction with the responsible renter, they did confirm that they were playing music outside. At my request, the guest provided a screenshot of the booking confirmation from their Airbnb account, which can be found as in attachment number 6, pages 43 through 44 of the staff report, which notates the 3-day stay and the booking date of June 22nd, 2024. Once I returned to the office, I performed a secondary check for a contract summary submission in the city's record-keeping database and still could not locate one. In the appellant's statement, which can be found in attachment number 2, page 16 of the staff report, they mentioned that they, quote, tried to submit the contract summary on the portal, but kept getting an error message, maybe because of my device's location, so I thought I'd contact the city once I returned, end quote. The appellant would have had 13 days from the date of the date the property was booked to notify the Office of Special Program Compliance of the alleged error message. The appellant also attached a contract summary submission form, which can be found in attachment number 2, pages 18 through 19 of the staff report, to demonstrate the error message allegedly received. Upon closer inspection of the attachments, the check-in and check-out dates on the form indicate July 23rd, 2024 and July 26th, 2024 respectively. This particular contract summary was for a different guest stay and after the fact and unrelated to the citation that was issued to the property owner on July 7th, 2024. The contract summary submission tool does not support retroactive submission dates. As a result of my findings, I issued administrative citation AD 0732 to the property owner on title for violating PSMC 5.25070H. That will conclude my testimony. I am available for any questions that you may have.
Any questions from the board?
I do. Jason, I think you talked about the message that the appellant allegedly received when trying to do it. And I see the picture in here. Is that message only received if it's after the date? Is that the reason for that message, or is that something that comes up for other reasons?
I'll have Patrick answer that.
Okay.
Thank you, Vice Chair. So the error message that I see in the appellant's submission, that would be a website error. That's not the error they would get if they tried to submit something retroactively.
Any other questions?
I have a question. You mentioned the property line. I have brought this up at a previous meeting. Where exactly did you do the noise reading on the property line?
So the reporting party's residence, which it butts directly up against the back of the house in question. So in their backyard, the reporting party's backyard.
And we all know that Farrell is a very busy street, so I just want to make sure there wasn't any noise interference from Farrell Drive with the music. None.
No,
Okay, all right. Thank
and
you.
the guest admitted to playing the music.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. Were there any short-term rentals that we know of before this incident?
I'm unaware of that. There were no contract summary submissions for any prior check-in dates, and they just received their certificate on July 20th, 2024. Or I'm sorry, June 20th, 2024.
Thank you.
Okay. No other questions? Thanks, Officer Wood. Thank you. Okay, so at this time, I would like to open the appeal hearing. The appellant is invited to speak for up to 10 minutes. Any members of the public who desire to speak on the appeal hearing shall have up to 3 minutes to speak. If any member of the public testifies, the appellant will be invited to provide a rebuttal for up to 2 additional minutes. Is the appellant here?
He's online, he's on
Oh.
Zoom.
Oh, okay. Can you please state your name?
Miguel, can you hear the board?
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Can you
Uh,
please state your name?
My name is Miguel Ángel Romero Munguia.
Okay, and Mr. Magia, you can start your right now, 10 minutes.
Perfect. Yeah, on July 5th, I received, I was traveling because of family emergency. My mom has an accident and I was traveling abroad the country. So I received next day in the morning an email because I couldn't have my telephone active because of my traveling. And I received an email from the inspector, and right away I was contacting him. I contacted him, and I was explaining my situation. I received this. This was my first reservation, and was a last-minute reservation. So because of my traveling and everything, I couldn't send the contract summary on time. And then I was trying to do it in the next morning, but every time I was trying to get into the portal, I send you also a proof of that I was having an error. I couldn't send the contract summary. Like I said, this was my first reservation. I was traveling. I talked to the inspector several times this morning. I explained everything to him that I couldn't do this contract summary because of my traveling and also because it was my first time. I really didn't know that I have to send it like before the arrival. It was my first time. It was my fault because not to read everything properly, but like I said, it was a last minute reservation, first reservation in the house, and it was a big emergency to me that I have to travel abroad. So after that, I talked to the inspector. I sent to him everything he was asking for, a screenshot of the reservation, a screenshot of the listing, and everything. And then after that, a few days later, I received the suspension. And I just sent my appeal just to explain that it wasn't my intention to hide anything or to do anything, not to send the contract summary. It's just to explain and to try to to get your I don't know how to say it, but that it wasn't my fault with this emergency. And I think it's I put every single money I have in this house to try to do some little business. And I think because of my emergency, I don't know, I deserve like a chance, I don't know. I think that's my defense because it's just the truth. I was traveling abroad. I was traveling to Ecuador. I could. Oh, sorry. Also, the inspector called the contact person I have at that moment. And at the beginning, when I started this house, I was talking with a management company that they're supposed to be running everything for me. But like 2 days before my travel and also the first reservation, this management company called me and they was trying to change all the terms in the contract. So I decided not to work with them because they was trying to change everything for me. And so that's why the contact person that they called at the beginning was this management company that at the end, we were not working together. And then like I said, they were trying to reach me and I was traveling. I couldn't take the phone. But as soon as I received the email from the inspector, I talked to him several times. and I explained the situation for him. So I just want to explain my situation was like a real family emergency, a big one, and I just hoping to not to get the suspension and the fine because, like I said, it was my first reservation, last minute reservation, and everything was in the same moment that I was traveling.
Okay, do you have anything else, Mr. Munguia?
No, that's all what happened. So everything that happened was like I said.
Okay, thank you. Is it at this time that I
Thank
can ask if the general public has
Yes,
any comment? Okay,
we don't have anyone signed up to speak for his appeal hearing.
okay, so we're gonna skip on that.
Yes.
Okay, so I would like to open it up for discussion or questions from the board to the appellant. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question, and may I call you Miguel? I want to make sure I don't mispronounce your surname.
Sorry?
Do I pronounce your name Mr. Munguia? Is that correct?
Yeah, Miguel, Mr. Munguia, whatever you like.
Thank you, I appreciate that. You mentioned that you had originally had a property management company, I think that you had contracted with originally, but then you decided not to do business with them, I think, because your testimony mentioned that they had changed terms. Was that the Alex Ramos that was mentioned in the ad? Because I noticed in the ad, it says it's hosted by Alex Ramos.
I really don't understand.
I think in the ad for your property,
Yeah.
it says that the host is Mr. Ramos, Alex Ramos.
Yes, that was the first, like my first Airbnb account that was handling by them. So I don't know. I think the name of the host was from them. So they will transfer me the account.
Okay. And then I think if I understood you correctly, your emergency happened, and then you got the request for the stay the weekend of the 6th and 7th, or I don't know if I have that backwards, but I'm just curious as the timing of that. Did you get that request for that stay on the 6th and 7th before you had to leave town?
Can you repeat the question? I really don't understand.
You received so the stay that's in question.
Yes.
I think it was July 6th and 7th.
It was from July 5th, I think, to July 8th. The reservation.
Okay. Great. Okay. Did that come before you left town? Before you left to Ecuador?
It was a last minute reservation. I think it was the day before, and I was traveling. I had like 21 hours flight to Ecuador with all the connections and everything. And when I arrived to Ecuador, my phone was like dead. So I had to get another phone, and this phone was the one I was using also to call the inspector the next day as soon as I had coverage and I get the emails.
Okay. I guess what I'm trying to get at is, did you handle the reservation, the booking for your person your guest that wanted to stay on the 5th through the 8th?
Yeah.
Did you handle that yourself?
Yes. It was me.
Okay. So given your family emergency, which I'm sure we can all relate to, how were you able to take care of that and not do the contract summary?
Sorry, can you repeat?
I'm just trying to decipher how you were able to handle the reservation and the booking, given your family emergency.
How was I able to handle everything?
I don't know how to word that differently. Anybody, any suggestions?
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out why that happened and not the contract summary.
So Mr. Munguia,
Yeah.
you took the reservation before you left to go to Ecuador. why couldn't you
Well,
fill out?
it was during my trip. Like I said, I was like the day before I was leaving to Ecuador. I received the reservation during my trip. Like I said, I sent messages to the guests just with the check-in instructions, and then I was trying next day, as soon as I have this, to try to send the contract summary, and it was impossible. It's every single time I try, it gives me an error. But I received the reservation, like I said, last minute reservation during my trip, because I left the country the day before, and I was traveling for like almost 21 hours with the stops and everything to Ecuador.
Right, and so I guess the question was, when you took the reservation, why didn't you complete the contract summary?
Why I didn't complete that as soon as I get the reservation?
Yeah.
Because like I said, I was traveling. I couldn't get a proper signal to do that. I tried the next day, and I sent you guys for the appeal some messages that I was having error, and later on I was talking with I think with someone from the city or I don't know, it was the inspector that because I didn't know, like I said, it was my first reservation in the house, the first one. That as soon as you try to get the contract summaries next day using the correct address, you cannot submit that. But I didn't know that, you know. I didn't know that next day, as soon as they pass the check-in day, you cannot submit the contract summary with the right address, right dates. Sorry. I didn't know that. I was like thinking, okay, I will amend this later. As soon as I have to pay the TOTs at the end of the month, I will amend that, and that's it. Honestly, that was my thought, because I didn't know, and I was trying once. Once I arrive and I have proper signal, I try to send the contract summary, but of course I was using the right dates, and I couldn't. And later on, they told me that no, you cannot do that. You cannot send the right dates the next day, you know?
Okay, thank you. I don't have any questions.
Mr. Mangia, did you fill out the application for short-term rental permit?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
thanks. Thank you. You realize that in that application, you signed off saying that you would agree, one of the items that you needed to submit prior to anyone arriving at your property would require the contract summary, and you signed off on
of
that.
course.
It's initial, so I understand.
No,
that you-
yeah, of course. Like I said, it wasn't my intention not to submit the contract summary. It was a big family emergency, and I was traveling. It wasn't my intention not to send the contract summary. Actually, in my first reservation, you know, it was the first reservation that I have, and everything was like, everything comes at the same time. My trip, my emergency, the reservation, it was too much, and I miss it.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else have any questions?
Patrick, has anybody had any,
You have to turn on.
has anybody had any problems uploading anything from without using a VPN from overseas before?
Chair, at this time, the questions are directed only at the appellant.
Right.
Miguel, did you have, it looks to me you got an error message trying to upload the contract? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
But like I said, it was next day.
Okay. Thanks, Miguel.
Thank you.
Okay, so can I have a discussion and comments from the board?
Chair, you should close the public hearing before you proceed.
Okay, this now closes the public hearing.
So I do have a question. I guess this would go to the city. And very much in like your question, I was kind of thinking about the contractor message too. Okay.
We have a question.
In regards to the contractor message, I'm just thinking about dates and times. He was in Ecuador, we're in the United States. Could there have been any crossover of possibly that there's
Time change.
an issue with a time change? I'm just trying to look at this from all angles.
Yeah.
You know, that, to answer with the software, I'm not sure, if it, if there would error because of time change. I just don't know if that's true or not.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any open up discussion for the board? Any comments?
Well, I'll start. It's an unfortunate circumstance. He clearly had a family emergency. He did admit in his testimony that he didn't submit the contract summary. So the violation did occur. I guess I would have, maybe in hindsight, probably the best thing to do would have to tell his guest on the 5th through the 8th. There's too much going on. I can't accept this reservation right now. When I can get back into town, we'll take a look at it. If we weren't going to be able to tie all things up together.
Any other comment?
Anybody else? Comments?
From what I'm seeing, it looks like the family emergency was his mother who had some type of, looks like a distal radius fracture. I'm reading this in Spanish. So I feel bad for him that had happened with his mom. I know that it looks like she is rather elderly at 78 years old. So I'm sure he was trying to do his best to be there for his mom.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is something that there's, everyone who submits an application for a permit agrees to follow guidelines. Unfortunately, we can't make an exception for one individual. And this is something that we see from time to time, but there are rules and regulations, and when you're signing off on agreeing to submit that contract summary, that is one of the requirements. And unfortunately, as a result of it, there is a penalty for not submitting it on time. So, okay, can I get a motion, please?
But before we get there, can I just ask my fellow board members, I think this might be where you guys were going with the error message. Is it your, where does that leave you in terms of, the testimony? Is it your thought that they tried to do it and just got the error message?
I'm a little unclear. I've traveled all over the world and I know that.
You have to turn on your mic.
I'm sorry. I've traveled all over the world and I know that, I would just like to hear if anybody's tried to log into our website from South America and submitted a document successfully without getting a kickback to him. I understand it was a day late, but he was traveling and there is an issue. I don't know if anybody knows what the time difference is.
No, I can answer just from what I've seen with the new software. So there's two parts of the software. Those are vacation rental software with GovOS, who has the contract summary tool in there. And then there's a payment provider that we contract. It's a third party that accepts payments and processes. That's the reason why I bring that up, is because that's where I've seen the VPN error come up, is when someone is trying to make payment for their application or remit tax to the city using that payment module. There's a VPN error that comes up, so they're not allowed to submit. I haven't seen that with respect inside the actual software vacation rentals, like the contract summaries and errors with that, but I have seen that with the payments portion of the outside vendor that processes our payments. I have seen the VPN error appear when they're out of country.
So yeah, I'm seeing a couple issues here. One is, if you even assuming that there was an error message, as I understand the testimony, there was no attempt to reach out to let the city know. that he had made that attempt and it failed until he returned to the US. So I just think there were a series of missteps here. And it also sounds, as I understand, the appellant's testimony, that he tried to upload the contract itself as opposed to a summary. I'm not sure I understood that properly, but I just think there are a few things here that could have been done differently. And that the failure to upload whatever it was is just, in my view, not enough for us to find that there was not a violation here.
Agree.
Okay, so would someone like to make a motion?
I move that we uphold the fine and the 6-month suspension.
Can I get a second?
Second,
Okay, board secretary, can you please take the vote?
Vice Chair Parker,
Aye.
Board Member Hein.
Aye.
Board Member Herman,
Nay.
Board Member Corinne,
Nay.
and Chair Vasily.
Nay.
Motion carries 3-2 to adopt the resolution overturning the administrative decision. I'm sorry, you're right, it was 2-3. Right?
Yes.
The motion fails.
So we have it to where it either upholds or overturns.
That motion failed. If someone else would like to make a new motion, they put a new motion on the floor. But the motion to uphold the citation and the violation has failed.
So can you clarify that for me? So
So if a board member would like to
I
make a
make a
motion
motion
to
to
overturn.
overturn the,
You have to turn your mic.
I'm sorry. I make a motion to overturn. Fine.
I second that motion.
board secretary, we could over.
Board Member Corinne,
Aye.
Board Member Herman.
Aye.
Board Member Hein,
nay.
Vice Chair Parker,
Nay.
and Chair Vasily.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-2 to adopt a resolution overturning the administrative decision.
So at this point,
The city will be in contact with you in regards to the resolution and the appeal fee refund.
thank you, Mr. McGee. Okay. Let's go on to the next one. We're actually gonna, for number 6, we're going to postpone that. Sorry, for number 6, we're gonna postpone, and we're gonna go to number 7 on the agenda. Concerning the property at 3155 East Ramon Road, Unit 804. It's an appeal of $5,000. An administrative decision from Gaston Sylvia is permanently ineligible to operate a vacation rental in the city of Palm Springs. Board Secretary, can you please ensure the city staff and the appellant understand that their testimony is under oath?
We do have signed affidavits from city staff and appellant that's in person. Anyone on Zoom who desires to testify under this appeal hearing, under the laws of perjury, if you choose to speak, you hereby accept and acknowledge that your testimony shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Thank you. City staff, can we have you present your report, please?
Yes, good evening. Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, board members. My name is Patrick Clifford with the Department of Special Program Compliance, and we oversee the vacation rental program here in the city of Palm Springs. Before you use a staff report for the property located at 3155 East Ramon Road, Unit 804. It was found that this property was operating as a vacation rental without a valid vacation rental certificate with a violation date of May 6, 2024. Included in your staff report on page 2 is the elements that led to the issuance of the citation. Additionally, the code compliance officer that investigated the property and issued the citation is here with us this evening, and I would like to invite Officer Whitaker to the table to present his findings. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Jason Whitaker, I'm the code compliance officer for the city of Palm Springs. On Sunday, May 5th, 2024, while conducting a review of available rental listings on the web-based booking platform Airbnb.com, I discovered an advertisement in the Little Beverly Hills neighborhood of Palm Springs titled Casa Verano, which can be found in attachment number 5 of the staff report. While reviewing the advertisement, it stated that the 2-bedroom condo was being offered for up to 4 guests with a minimum 14-night stay per the booking calendar. I was unable to find a city ID number on the advertisement as required for a registered vacation rental property. So I reviewed the photos contained within the advertisement and was able to positively identify the property address as 3155 East Ramon Road, unit number 804. Upon review of the city's vacation rental registration records, I confirmed that the property identified did not hold a vacation rental registration certificate. I then sent a message on May 5th, 2024 via the Airbnb.com contact host feature, which can be found in attachment number 6 of the staff report, inquiring about a short-term stay initially for 5 nights, arriving May 26, 2024, and departing on May 31st, 2024. My message stated, "Hi Gaston, we're flying to Palm Springs for the week of May 26th through May 31st, 2024. I wanted to ask how far the condo is from the airport. We might just use Uber to get around during our stay. Thanks." I received the following response from Gaston stating, "Hello Wayne, the condo is located probably 4 blocks away from the airport, but the gate is located a little far away, maybe 1 more block." And he followed up by adding, "Just to have an idea, the main gate is located on Ramon Road and Compadre, the Palms." That's how he typed it. I sent the following response to the host, "Okay, that helps, and are the requested dates still available for May 26th through May 31st? Gaston responded with yes, but I have to confirm. And it's a little broken, sorry, the way it was written out. "Yes, but I have to confirm you tomorrow since it was a lady having troubles today but didn't back me yet. Feel free to back to me tomorrow morning, or I will send you the pre-approval. Let me know if that works for you." I responded with, "Sure, that works for me, thank you." 3 minutes after my response to Gaston, I received another message from him stating, "Wayne, I just got the message from the other inquirer. She is still thinking. I will send you the pre-approval now." Subsequently, after receiving the message from Gaston, he sent me an invitation to book for the originally requested dates of May 26, 2024 to May 31st, 2024. Approximately 2.5 hours later, I received the following message from Gaston. "Hello Wayne, sorry the lady before you backed to me again. Please don't accept the pre-approval, otherwise Airbnb will take your money and it will be a few weeks for your refund. My apologies." The following day, May 6th, 2024, I sent the following response to Gaston, "No problem. How long did she book for? We were thinking of pushing out our visit to June or July actually. Thanks." Gaston responded, "June 30th is her last day," in which I responded with, "We were eyeing July 2nd through July 15th. Let me know if those dates are available. Thanks." Gaston responded, "Yes, they are available right now. Send me an inquiry." When I sent my response indicating that the calendar was set to a 28-night minimum for that requested time frame, Gaston responded, "Okay, let me fix it for you. Try again." I then attempted to select the dates of July 2nd through July 15th on the booking calendar and sent a message to Gaston indicating I was still not able to select those dates. Gaston responded with, "Really, let me look again, maybe I'm doing something wrong, 13 nights, right?" In which I responded with yes. Gaston replied with, "Try again." After receiving this last message from Gaston, I did not engage any further as there was more enough evidence to demonstrate that the host, Gaston, was willing to facilitate a short-term stay at this property for 13 nights and sent a previous invitation to book for 5 nights. During my investigation, I reviewed this Airbnb advertisement and observed that several guest reviews mentioned short-term stays. Those guest reviews can be found in attachment number 5, page 49 of the staff report. Guest Chang's review from December 2023 stated, "Great large 2-bedroom 2-bath apartment for a few days stay." Additional separate guest reviews from Benji, Brendan, and Lacey were also tagged with State a few nights. It should be noted that a clerical error was made with the issuance of the citation, as the property address had the incorrect unit number listed as 809 rather than the correct unit number of 804. As a result, I mailed a notice of correction to the property owner on title. The original citation and notice of violation were sent via USPS certified mail as well as standard USPS mail. I was able to confirm via the USPS tracking website that the certified notice of violation and citation were successfully delivered to the property owner on May 13th, 2024. I was also able to confirm that the notice of correction that was subsequently mailed to the property owner on May 16th, 2024 was also successfully delivered on May 23rd, 2024. I've included the proof of delivery of both mailings, which can be found in the additional materials that were provided for this evening's hearing. As a result of my findings contained in the advertisement, the host responses to my inquiry, the prior guest stay reviews indicating short-term stays, as well as the host's written confirmation that a 13-night stay was available, along with an initial invitation to book for the dates of May 26, 2024 through May 31st, 2024, I found the property located at 3188 East Ramon Road, Unit 804 was in violation of PSMC 5.25.040A, operating a vacation rental without a vacation rental registration certificate. And I issued administrative citation number AB 0711 to the property owner on title Gaston Silva. And then upon receipt of the original citation and notice of violation that was sent certified mail to the appellant, Gaston Silva, which was confirmed as delivered on May 13th, 2024. I received the following message from the appellant Gaston via Airbnb on May 14th, 2024. Sorry, Wayne, couldn't make the changes since the condo was only rented 28 days minimum as advertised in the app, and the owner is the only person authorized to modify those dates. This clearly demonstrates the appellant fully intended to facilitate a short-term stay, which he had also done previously as indicated by prior guest reviews. His intent changed, however, once he received the administrative citation and notice of violation letter. So that will conclude my testimony. I'm available for any questions that you may have.
Thank you. I do have a question. I noticed that one of the reviews has gone back as far as July 2020. So has there been any TOT tax paid?
There wouldn't be any TOT tax if it's not a registered vacation rental.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions from the board?
I have a question, and that is, in your experience, when, in this case, you put in dates of, was it 13 days?
So initially it was for, let me go back. I believe it was for 5 nights.
Okay, well, less than 28 in any event.
Correct.
And according to these messages back and forth, you tried at some point to put in fewer dates, but then did Airbnb not accept them and it said 28-day minimum? Does that happen to you very often?
It
And
does
what does
happen.
that typically mean?
It does happen from time to time. It just depends on how the booking calendar is set. And that could be because it was a different month that I was trying to book for the second time around. The first inquiry was from May 2024. And then in July of 2024, the booking calendar was set to an amount, a date range of, I believe, 28 nights minimum. So I think it could be that if they're trying to book short term for certain months, they might have those months set at a minimum of a different, time frame versus another month.
Okay, I think I understand that. But have you ever encountered this situation where it was an Airbnb's responsibility or fault that someone would try to rent for a certain amount of days and then your request would get kicked back because of a minimum requirement?
So it wouldn't get kicked back necessarily. The booking calendar is in real time, so it just depends on how the host of that advertisement has their calendar set, allowing them to either put a minimum of 1 night stay or 3 nights, 14 days, 28 days, whatever. It's up to the person who is the host of the advertisement to set those limitations for that.
And
Calendar.
is it your understanding that that's not hard to do, that the owner can simply go online and change the date without the involvement of Airbnb or some third party?
Sure, so I can't speak to every person. I mean, some people are very savvy when it comes to, you know, using the internet, others may not be, so I can't really speak to what someone's level of difficulty is when they're setting up their advertisement, or if they're having somebody else set it up for them, or what have you. I can figure it out, but I can't speak for somebody else.
Okay, thank you.
I have kind of a follow-up to that. I noticed in the advertisement, I think it's on page 43. In item 7, it says, actually at the top of that page, long-term stays allow stay of 28 days or more. And I think this has come up before, and you've done a good job of explaining it to me anyway, which was, despite that term being on there, if the booking calendar is set for less, then a prospective guest can book it for less number of days. Or submit the request for less.
Correct.
Okay.
When you click on the dates, if you're choosing, if it's set to a 28 night minimum and you choose something less than 28 nights, it doesn't allow you to pick the checkout date. It's going to be grayed out until you actually pick that 28th night.
So despite that, despite this thing being in the ad, long-term stays allowed, allow a stay of 28 days or more, you didn't receive that grayed out message or that error message when you tried to book a shorter period of time?
No, because originally the booking calendar for May was set to, let me go back and see. I do a lot of these, so. It was set to a minimum 14-night stay for the month of May 2024, and then subsequently I was initially sent an invitation to book for 5 nights for May. It wasn't until the host of the ad came back and messaged me later saying there was someone else that was already interested in the condo before me, so then they, you know, reneged on that invite.
Yeah.
So.
And then I just want to make sure I have the timing of that follow-up message correct. So the message that said, hey, Wayne, never mind, you know, it has to be 29 days or longer. That was on the 14th of May?
That was on the 14th of May.
Okay, so about a week or so later. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question. Am I missing something? He doesn't have a permit to rent the place to begin with, is that correct?
Correct.
So the question of whether or not it's short-term or long-term is kind of irrelevant. If he doesn't have a permit.
Board member, yeah, right now, I would encourage the board to maintain their questions, with respect to questions, factual questions, or questions on the testimony, of city staff, you can.
Does he, I'm
discussion.
sorry, does he have a permit at all? No.
No.
Are there any other questions? Okay, thank you. So at this time, I'd like to open the appeal hearing. The appellant is invited to speak for up to 10 minutes. Any members of the public who desire to speak on this appeal hearing shall have up to 3 additional minutes to speak. If any member of the public testifies, the appellant will be invited to provide a rebuttal for up to additional 2 minutes. So, would you please state your name?
Certainly, Mr. Chair. My name is Leslie Benjamin. I'm an attorney representing Mr. Gaston Silva. He is here with us today along with his husband, Mr. Terry Ortega. All right, so I'd like to begin by addressing violation AB 0711. Now, it is our contention that Mr. Silva is not in violation of the Palm Springs Municipal Code for 3 important reasons. First, the booking that Mr. Whitaker attempted to complete was never actually completed. Secondly, no money was ever exchanged because this booking was not completed. And third, the advertising stating a 14-day minimum was an error on the part of Airbnb, excuse me. That was not the fault of Mr. Silva. So as to the first point, as Mr. Whitaker pointed out, and as was submitted by us to the city clerk, the conversation between Mr. Silva and this gentleman identified as Wayne, which I believe was Mr. Whitaker. Mr. Silva stated on May 14th that the property could only be rented for 28 days minimum as advertised on the app, and the owner was the only person who could modify that. Mr. Whitaker seemed to corroborate that statement. It is my understanding that bookings through Airbnb are still subject to the approval of the property owner, and this is to prevent overlapping bookings. So the statement from Mr. Silva shows that the booking was not approved, and Mr. Silva is here today and can testify under oath to that fact as well. So I know that the text shown here seems to suggest that Mr. Silva may have wanted to rent for a shorter amount of time. I feel it's important for the board members to know that Mr. Silva is originally from Argentina. English is his second language, and he does struggle quite a bit with reading and writing the English language. So what we're seeing here is a bit of confusion and miscommunication on the part of Mr. Silva. Fortunately, that's not what's at issue before the board today. The question that's before the board is whether Mr. Silva intended to and did complete a booking of a short-term rental as it's defined in the municipal code. And we believe the evidence shows that the answer to both of those questions is no. As to my second point, since the booking was never actually completed, there was no money exchanged, and Mr. Silva did not receive any money as a result of this canceled booking. As to the third point, Mr. Whitaker testified that the property was advertised as a 14-day minimum. Now, we submitted prior to today's hearing a exchange with Airbnb support between Mr. Silva and one of the Airbnb support officials, excuse me, in which Mr. Silva explained that there was an error showing that his property was being advertised for a 14-day minimum rather than 28. Mr. Silva was very concerned about this because when he cancels a booking or attempted booking, he is penalized $300 and is worried that he would be costed money as a result of this. As you can see from the conversation, it was not the fault of Mr. Silva. It was an error on the part of Airbnb. And when Mr. Silva became aware of this error, he took reasonable steps to remedy it. We believe because of these 3 points, the failure to complete the booking, the lack of money exchanged, and the advertising being the fault of Airbnb rather than Mr. Silva, as well as his reasonable steps to mitigate that error, then Mr. Silva is not in violation of the Palm Springs Municipal Code. Thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions to the extent that I can, but for any information that I do not readily have available to me, Mr. Silva is here to answer those questions as well.
I do have a question. So I heard your statement regarding this particular booking, but could you address the bookings that we do have reviews from July 2022 showing that people have stayed at this property for less than a week. And so despite the fact that we're talking about this particular booking, we do have evidence or proof that there have been reviews, several reviews, more than I believe 6 reviews, stating that people have stayed at this property short term, which does indicate that he did violate the city ordinances on short-term rental because he didn't have a permit to rent the property short term. So can you address that?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'm aware that Mr. Silva did operate his properties as short-term rentals at some time in the past. I'm not sure the exact dates, but I mean, if you would like, he can testify to that in more specific detail. I just know at the time, he was not currently operating these as short-term rentals. He was operating long-term rentals only of 28 days minimum.
Okay, thank you. Board, any questions?
I do. thank you, for being here. I noticed in the exchange with, Mr. Silva and Wayne, Wayne came back and said, hey, it says 28 days minimum. And Mr. Silva said, okay, let me fix it for you. What was he trying to do?
I've asked Mr. Silva about some of these conversations because, as I mentioned, I can certainly understand how they can be interpreted a certain way. I certainly raised my eyebrows myself the first time I read them. But it was explained to me that Mr. Silva just simply didn't understand that it's his English comprehension with reading and writing, so he was confused. It was when he was flagged by Airbnb and he received a signal from them that he understood that this was an under 28-day booking, and hence why he gave his response of May 14th, 2024, because he got the indication from Airbnb that that's what was going on.
Well, he said, let me fix it for you. And then I think Wayne came back and said, oh, I just tried it. It's not letting me to. And he said, really, let me look again. Maybe I'm just wrong. He says 13 nights, right? And Wayne said, correct. What was he trying to do?
I can actually have Mr. Silva answer that.
That'd be great.
if you'd like.
Yeah.
Is that okay? From here?
No, come on, Sarah.
Yes, they'd like you to be at the microphone, Mr. Silva, so that we can make sure everybody hears you.
Mr. Silva, can you please state your name?
Gaston Silva.
Thank you.
What I was trying to do is because I have a problem with the 3 properties that I have. I have an issue in that month. I have tons of people trying to book for a short-term rental, and I was telling to, and it's all approved because it's all printed. I'm trying to communicate with Airbnb that at this scenario, I said, please, this scenario, I'm doing only long-term rentals. And I have all the print with all the people that I have is only long rentals. I don't know about the person that they say that is short rentals. I don't have it. It's all rent.
Okay, can I direct your attention to the specific?
When I try to say they fix it,
And
I say I tried, they said, let me see if they fix it because
you
I
said,
have,
maybe I'm doing something wrong.
maybe I'm doing something wrong.
13 nights, right?
Exactly, because I'm doing something wrong, and I said, let me talk with Airbnb and see if we can fix it. And I
So
couldn't,
when he said 13 nights, why didn't you stop right then and say, no, I can only rent it for 29 days?
because when I say to fix it, is to fix it with Airbnb. Airbnb is the problem with Airbnb.
No,
It's
I'm
not
not talking
just,
about Airbnb, I'm talking about this exchange that you had with this.
I told them in the
prospective guest.
beginning, it's advertising as a long-term rental.
Right, and you did, and then you said, look again, I might be doing something wrong after you said it's not allowing me. And you said 13 nights, is that correct?
In that case, yes, because that's what we're trying to book.
Okay, why wasn't your response to him saying, no, I only do long-term rentals?
Because I didn't know at that time if it's not the only property.
Okay.
I had to check it out with everything, with all with the rest of the property. I just have to see if it's okay or not okay with the 13 days.
Okay, council, with your permission, can we ask Mr. Silva the question that Chair was asking earlier about 2022?
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't know why it's. What?
I think the chair asked a question about the reviews that were on the site for short-term rentals. They stayed about a week or a couple days. I think there were 6 reviews in the year 2022.
Do you have a
We'll
page
start it
number?
in page on 2022.
Yeah, I just want to be able to direct outline.
Yeah, sure.
Do you have a page number?
Actually, if
2022,
if you look at pages 32 and 33, we have 3 short-term rentals in December of 2023.
Oh, thank you.
Right, my point was is that starting back in 2022. there
Right,
were
but as
short-term
recently as
rentals.
December 2023.
Brendan, Lacey, and Benji.
And Chung.
Oh, yes.
so how do you know the nights? I can't read it over here. I don't have it in my memory. How many nights is over here in December?
Let's see.
If you look at the Chang review, December 2023, it says great large 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment for a few days stay. Do you see that?
Yes, but I don't know how many days it stay.
Okay, and then you go down to Benji, December 2023, and it says stayed a few nights. Do you see that?
That's correct. I don't know how many days.
Okay, and then below that you see
We took a
Brendan.
vacation of 45 days. So it's, sorry.
Then below that you see Brendan, December 2023, stayed a few nights. Do you see that?
Yes,
So according to your reviews, you had 3 different guests in December 2023, correct?
it's correct. Airbnb sometimes they post really late, and it doesn't mean that it's those days. I have people that don't post anything.
I think what Mr. Zola might be trying to suggest is that the reviews were posted on December 2023, but that these were not necessarily stays that occurred at December 2023. Is that right?
That's correct.
I think the timing of the stay is regardless, the month anyway, and the year, right? I think it's more like if you look at the other reviews, it says I stayed over a week, stayed with a pet. These specific ones stayed a few nights. Is what they selected when they did their review. And the one that my colleague just pointed out, she specifically said it in the review. Stayed in the apartment for a few days. So I don't think it matters the month of the year as it does. There's evidence that you've done short-term rentals prior. Is that correct?
But it's not correct because I do only long-term rental. That's why it's strange for me.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
No questions? Okay. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Silva. Now I can close this part of the,
Chair, you should confirm that there's no public testimony.
yeah,
It
sorry.
doesn't appear that there is, but.
Correct, there's no public commenters for this hearing.
thank you. Okay, so can I close the public hearing now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right. I'm gonna open this up to the board.
I'm just gonna ask one more time, there is no vacation rental permit on file for this property whatsoever.
That's correct. No, that's all right.
Thank you.
And just to add to that, well, clarify, there's none required for 29 days or more.
Okay,
I have nothing to add except that I think we have actually more evidence than usual of short-term rentals. And the appellant's suggestion that everything was Airbnb's fault, I just don't find credible. And that's all I have.
okay.
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
I agree that we do have reviews on this property indicating that there were short-term stays. So I just can't, there's nothing else indicating that this property was used as a short-term rental without a permit.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I wasn't following you.
So based on the reviews,
Yes.
there's an indication that people did stay for a short term.
Yes.
And that based on that this property was used as a short-term rental without a permit.
The other thing that was telling to me was, and I think the code officer testified to this, the date of the message saying, oh, never mind, cancel your reservation, was the date after the letter was received. The violation and the citation was received the day before that message, which I think is pretty telling.
Okay. So if we don't have anything else, can we, can I get a motion
I make a motion
to,
to uphold the fine, correct?
And suspension.
Second,
okay. All right,
Chair, just to clarify, the motion is to uphold the fine and associated penalty of ineligibility.
Correct.
thank you. Thanks for doing. Okay. Board Secretary, can you take a vote?
Board Member Herman.
Aye.
Board Member Hein.
aye.
Board Member Corinne.
Aye.
Vice Chair Parker
Aye.
and Chair Basili.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0 to adopt the resolution upholding the administrative decision.
Okay, Mr. Silva, the city will be in touch with you regarding the fine. And now we're gonna be here for another 2 properties. So if we can move on to the next item, number 8, concerning the property at 510 North Villa Court, unit number 215, it's an appeal of the $5,000 fine and administrative decision that Gaston Silva is permanently ineligible to operate a vacation rental in the city of Palm Springs. Board Secretary, please ensure that the city staff and the appellant understand that the testimony is under oath.
We do have signed affidavits from city staff and appellant, both in person. Anyone on Zoom who desires to testify under this appeal hearing, under the laws of perjury, if you choose to speak, you hereby accept and acknowledge that your testimony shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Staff, could I please have a report?
Yes, good evening, thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, board members, my name is Patrick Clifford with the Department of Special Program Compliance, and we oversee the vacation rental program here in the city of Palm Springs. For you this evening, is staff report for the property located at 510 North Villa Court, Unit 215. It was found that this property was operating as a vacation rental without a vacation rental certificate with a violation dated May 6, 2024. The elements that led to the issuance of the citation is included in your staff report on page 2, items 1 through 4. Additionally, the code officer that investigated the property is here this evening to provide further testimony on the investigation and what led to the issuance of the administrative citation. I would like to invite Officer Whitaker to the table to provide further testimony. Thank you.
Good evening again, my name is Jason Whitaker, I'm a code compliance officer for the city of Palm Springs. On Monday, May 6, 2024, while reviewing available rental listings on the Airbnb booking platform, I came across an advertisement for a property in the Palm Springs Villas condominium community titled Casa Linda, as detailed in attachment number 5 of the staff report. The advertisement described the 1-bedroom condominium as available for up to 2 guests with a minimum stay of 3 nights, according to the booking calendar, which can be found in attachment number 5, page 25 of the staff report. Notably, the listing lacked a city ID number, which is required for registered vacation rental properties. Upon examining the photos in the ad, I was able to confirm that the property address was 510 North Villa Court, Unit 215. A subsequent review of the city's vacation rental registration records confirmed that this property did not possess a vacation rental registration certificate. Also, while reviewing the advertisement, I observed references to the city of Palm Springs short-term vacation rental ordinance, which can be found in attachment number 5, page 40 of the staff report. Short-term vacation rentals are expressly prohibited within this condominium community. I then sent a message on May 6, 2024 via the Airbnb.com contact host feature, which can be found in attachment number 6 of the staff report, inquiring about a short-term stay initially for 4 nights, arriving May 23rd, 2024 and departing on May 27th, 2024. My message stated, "What a stunning condo. I wanted to see if the check-in time of 3 p.m. is flexible by chance. Coming in from Arizona, thank you." I received the following response from the host, Gaston. "Hi Jace, thank you. Yes, we can be flexible at this point." I then immediately received an invitation to book from the host, Gaston, for the requested dates of May 23rd, 2024 through May 27th, 2024. I sent the following response to Gaston. Okay, cool. I should have asked, is this an upstairs condo or downstairs? To which Gaston replied, oh, Jace, you need to cancel your reservation as soon as possible. I then asked, okay, what happened? Gaston responded, the condo is located on the second floor. Well, at least don't book it yet, is what he said. I responded, darn, okay, I noticed you have another listing for downstairs. Is it available? In which Gaston replied, I do, let me check for those dates. It's all booked. The host and I continued to message back and forth regarding the stairs for the second story unit when I inquired about the downstairs unit availability, in which I specifically asked how far it was booked out. The host replied, we have available the last 3 weeks of June and the last 2 weeks in December. The rest is solid booked. I then inquired about the week of Christmas, to which the host confirmed it would be available, specifically stating, quote, December 16th through December 30th is available, $75 per night plus cleaning and pet fees, just in case you have one, $250 cleaning fees, $150 pet fees. As we began to converse about the host's first floor listing, Villa Alegre, we then continued our discussion via the contact host page for that particular listing. As a result of my findings contained in the advertisement, the host responses to my inquiry, as well as the host invitation to book a 4-night stay, I found that the property located at 510 North Villa Court, Unit 215 was in violation of PSMC 5.25.040A, operating a vacation rental without a vacation rental registration certificate, and I issued administrative citation number AD 0712 to the property owner on title Gaston Silva. As seen in the city staff additional materials portion of the staff report for this property, my notice violation and administrative citation were delivered via USPS certified mail on May 13th, 2024 to the appellant's mailing address on file. I also received the following message from the appellant Gaston via Airbnb on May 14th, 2024. Stating, hi Jace, I was talking to the Airbnb and the booking didn't go through because the units are only long-term rentals, minimum 28 days, excuse me. That's why we couldn't accepted the inquiry. Please feel free to send me a message if you didn't book any condo yet. I'm not sure if your starting day is December 18th or December 27th. It should be noted that Airbnb does not dictate the minimum maximum number of days for property. The settings are exclusively the responsibility of the ad host. Additionally, this message contradicts the appellant's initial claim that the property was available for a short-term stay. Furthermore, they also sent an invitation to book this property for a 4-night stay. And just one more thing. And under the administrative regulations section for operation of a vacation rental, it states, the city's regulation states, advertisement of the property means on any web-based platform, hosting platform, print media, bulletin, signage, radio and television, or any other medium for the purposes of promoting interest in testing the market for or soliciting the occupancy of a property for a period of 28 consecutive days or less. So that kind of just demonstrates that advertising is considered operating, especially if they're sending an invitation to book a short-term stay. So that will conclude my testimony. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Just want to confirm a couple of things. One, there's no short-term rental permit on this property.
Correct.
The community itself does not allow short-term rentals.
Correct.
Okay. And he did accept a short-term reservation for you.
Yes, so I was sent an invitation to book a 4-night stay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions from the board?
Just took my 3. Actually, I do have another one that's probably gonna come up, either related to the previous case or the subsequent one, but I noticed that this violation is the same date as the previous case.
Correct.
how did you come across this one?
So on the host's profile, he has all of his advertisements attached to that. So I just happened to click on each one of those properties and they were all indicative of.
So they were on his Airbnb profile?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay. Then, thank you, Officer Whitaker. At this time, I'd like to open the appeal hearing. The appellant is invited to speak for up to 10 minutes. Any members of the public who desire to speak on this appeal hearing shall have 3 minutes to speak. If any member of the public testifies, the appellant will be invited to provide a rebuttal for up to 2 additional minutes. Can we have the appellant come back up and?
Certainly. Would you like to hear from Mr. Silva himself?
If that's fine, that would be fine.
I would like to accompany him at least.
Yeah, sure, not a problem.
There's another chair.
Yes, thank you. All right, either way.
Sorry, I get nervous when
Mr. Silva, would you just state your name again, please?
Gaston Silva.
Thank you. Okay, your 10 minutes to start, please.
All right, I'd just like to reiterate the previous points we made. As was the case with previous booking, this one was also not completed. I can't recall if Mr. Whitaker mentioned this in his testimony, but Mr. Silva also on May 14th, with this booking as well, sent a message to Mr. Whitaker stating, exact quote, "Hi, Jace," but Mr. Whitaker using the name Jace for this time. "I was talking to the Airbnb and the booking didn't go through because the units are only long-term rentals, minimum 28 days. That's why we couldn't accepted the inquiry." So I that was also included in what we submitted to the city as well. I'm not sure why it was omitted from the staff report that was prepared by Mr. Whitaker. But as I stated before, as was the case in the previous booking, the case here is that the booking was never completed. Money never changed hands.
Okay, thank you. Anything else?
We're happy to answer any questions from the board.
So as you heard, I think the code officer was reciting the actual ordinance. Advertising is considered violation of the code, even if a reservation doesn't take place. So that was just a point I wanted to make in this case, which I think is a little different from the last one. Mr. Silva actually extended an invitation through the system to book for those dates. So he actually pushed that invitation out to Jace. So I just want to know from him why you invited him to stay for those dates.
I invited, I don't know if it goes through or not through until I find out, with the Airbnb that is not possible.
Okay, I don't have anything else.
Right, but also your community doesn't allow short-term rental, so.
Same thing, I never do, I do all long short-term rental, and I can show all the proof with all the people that stay longer. I have all the dates for a year, and it's a month to month to month.
Yes,
So that's why I'm surprised when they put out all in 1 month. 4 people, I don't know, because I'm not on Airbnb, sorry.
yes, and we also submitted for the record as well, some evidence of some bookings of Mr. Silva's at these properties for amounts ranging from 31 days up to 128 days to show that there is a history of long-term rentals being used at these properties.
I'm just confused with the reviews that indicate that there's a shorter stay than 29 or 28 nights. So I don't know where these are coming from. If the reviews are coming from someone and they're referencing Mr. Silva as being a great host. So I'm confused with that. I understand that you do have stays that are longer than 31 days, as you mentioned. But I'm confused about these reviews that are indicating that the stays are less than 28 nights.
It's my understanding that Mr. Silva did previously operate short-term rentals in the past and.
I didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. It was my first year when I did a short rentals and I didn't work. I opened different accounts with every unit. And at the end of the year, I analyzed the situation and it didn't work because I had to pay to management and it's a different case. But that's why I switched for long-term rental. That is so much easier compared. I'm working full time, so I don't have the time to be, manage all the properties with the short term is crazy. That's why I use long term. I'm surprised, like you, how they show up in 1 month, all this communication. I don't know why. I don't see the date, and I was looking, and I don't find out those person with the short with a week. It's all long term rentals.
If that's the case, why did you extend an invite for him to book through Airbnb?
I was asking about this request right here.
He said, he said, what a stunning condo. I'm coming from Arizona. You said, he asked about the check-in time. I'm sorry, I'm looking at page 49. I apologize.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing we have, but I'll just use your version. There it is, yes.
And then Mr. Silva said, thank you, we can be flexible at this point. And Gaston was sent an invitation to book for 2 guests on May 23rd through May 27th.
I can respond, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Are you the only one who has access to your Airbnb account?
Say it again?
Are you the only one who has access to your Airbnb account?
No, I have.
Just the two of you?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? on the board? Okay, and I forgot to ask if there was any members of the public that wanted to speak, but
There's no public commenters.
okay. All right, then, thank you very much. Let's close this part of the public hearing. And I'll just bring it back to the board for comments, suggestions.
Well, you heard my position. I think this one is slightly different from the previous one, maybe more more glaring in that an actual invitation to book was sent to the requester for, looks like about 4 days. So there's that. The other thing is the same, if we notice in the Officer Ricker's testimony, it was the same issue as the previous, where the message coming back to him came back on the 14th, which was the day after the violation letter was received, which to me is suspect.
Any other comment?
I agree. I would like to ask counsel, because I think it would help to have clarification. Palm Springs vacation rental ordinance does not require that that a guest actually book or pay for a short-term rental, let alone stay at a short-term rental, as long as the property is advertised as a short-term rental or offered as a short-term rental. Is that right?
Yep, to clarify, the Palm Springs Municipal Code, the vacation rental registration ordinance provides that it is a violation to operate a short-term rental without a short-term rental certificate, vacation rental certificate. What the code also does is that it authorizes the city manager to issue administrative regulations under the ordinance. And there is an administrative regulation that has been issued by the city manager's office that relates to that defines operation to include the advertisement of a vacation rental. And so that's a long way of saying, under the code and the regulations as adopted, the mere advertisement of a vacation rental would be a violation because it would be considered operation, even if it did not ultimately consummate into a stay or a transaction of money.
Thank you.
Okay. So I'm gonna reach out and ask for a motion.
Motion to uphold the fine and the suspension.
Okay, may I ask a question, council question before we finish that motion?
Okay.
Since the permanent suspension, permanent ineligibility to operate was already passed with the previous property, does that need to be included in this one?
It's a separate resolution. The violation is tied to the property owner, so yes, it will essentially have no effect, but it's an independent violation and an independent
Got it.
penalty.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah.
you can't separate, you can't bifurcate.
Understood. I'll second that motion.
Okay.
And just to clarify the motion, because the board member did say suspension, the motion is to uphold the citation with the fine and the permanent ineligibility, correct?
Correct. Did I get a second?
I did.
Okay. Thank you. Board Secretary, can you take the roll?
Board Member Coray,
Aye.
Vice Chair Parker,
Aye.
Board Member Hines,
Aye.
Board Member Herman,
Aye.
and Chair Basili.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0 to adopt the resolution upholding the administrative decision.
Okay, Mr. Silva, the city will reach out to you regarding the fine. Okay, let's move on to the last item concerning the property at 550 North Villa Court, Unit 114. It's an appeal of the $5,000 and administrative decision that Gaston Silva is permanently ineligible to operate a vacation rental in the city of Palm Springs. Board Secretary, please ensure that the city staff and the appellant understand that their testimony is under oath.
Excuse me. We do have signed affidavits from city staff and appellant that's in person. Anyone on Zoom who desires to testify under this appeal hearing, under the laws of perjury. If you choose to speak, you hereby accept and acknowledge your testimony shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Could we get a staff report, please?
Yes, good evening. Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, board members. My name is Patrick Clifford with the Department of Special Program Compliance, and we oversee the vacation rental program here in the city of Palm Springs. Four is the staff report for the property located at 550 North Villa Court, unit number 114. This property was found operating as a vacation rental without a vacation rental certificate with a violation date of May 7th, 2024. And included in your staff report on page 2 are the elements that led to the issuance of the citation. Additionally, the code compliance officer that investigated the property and which led to the issuance of the citation is here this evening, and I would like to invite Officer Whitaker to the table to provide further testimony. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Jason Whitaker, City of Palm Springs Code Compliance Officer again. So on Monday, May 6, 2024, while conducting a review of available rental listings on the web-based booking platform Airbnb.com, came across an advertisement in the Palm Springs Villas condominiums neighborhood of Palm Springs titled Casa Alegre, which can be found in attachment number 5 of the staff report. While reviewing the advertisement, it stated that the one-bedroom condo was being offered for up to 2 guests and a minimum 4-night stay per the booking calendar. I could not find a city ID number on the advertisement as required for a registered vacation rental property, so I reviewed that the photos contained within the ad and positively identified the property address as 550 North Villa Court, Unit 114. Upon review of the city's vacation rental registration records, I confirmed that the property identified did not hold a vacation rental registration certificate. Also, while reviewing the advertisement, I observed references to the City of Palm Springs short-term vacation rental ordinance, which can be found in attachment number 5, H41 of the staff report. Short-term vacation rentals are expressly prohibited within this condominium community. I then sent a message on May 5th, 2024 to the host via Airbnb.com contact host feature, which can be found in attachment 6, the staff report. The conversation in the message thread was carried over with Gaston from the advertisement of his other condo in the same community, in which I also selected the dates of December 18th through December 27th, 2024 on the booking calendar. My message stated, "Hi Gaston, it appears to be working." I received a response from Gaston stating, "Great, I will send you the pre-approval, and if you want to cancel the other condo, please let me know." Subsequently, after receiving this last response from Gaston, I was sent an invitation to book a short-term stay at this property between the dates of December 18th and December 27th, 2024. During my investigation, I reviewed this advertisement and observed there were approximately 20 guest reviews that referenced short-term stays. These reviews can be found in attachment 5, pages 48 through 51 of the staff report. As a result of my findings contained in the advertisement, the host's responses to my inquiry, as well as the host's invitation to book a 9-night stay, I found that the property located at 550 Villa Court, Unit 114 was in violation of PSMC 5.25.040A, operating a vacation rental without a vacation rental registration certificate, and I issued administrative citation number AB 0713 to the property owner on title Gaston Silva. Also seen in the city staff additional materials portion of the staff report for this property, my notice of violation and administrative citation were delivered via USPS certified mail on May 13th, 2024 to the appellant's mailing address on title. I also received the following message from the appellant the very next day via Airbnb on May 14th, 2024, which stated, "Hi Jace, apparently your booking didn't go through because you are trying to book less than 28 days. We are only doing long-term rentals." This directly contradicts his initial invitation to book a short-term stay of 9 nights. It is evident that the appellant's message on May 14th, 2024 was sent in response to receiving the administrative citation and notice of violation the previous day, May 13th, 2024. And also reviewing the additional materials that were added to the staff report by the appellant for this and the previous appeals. There are some screenshots in there that are of previous guest stays. However, a more thorough way of examining a guest or a history of the rental property would be to run what's called a completed reservations report, and that would show a list. You can filter all the dates, the date range of all of your previous guest stays, and I see that they failed to include that and only included screenshots of specific dates that indicate long-term stays. It's more compelling to have a actual report from Airbnb that has all of those completed stays. So that's all I have to say. I will hand it back over to Patrick if he has any other statements.
Yes, I just wanted to provide further information that this property did hold a registration certificate back around 2019. Looks like the certificate expired July 31st, 2019. With the council date of July 31st, 2019, and that certificate was issued to the owner Gaston Silva at that time. That certificate has been canceled. Since then, no new certificate's been issued. It's my understanding this complex does not allow vacation rentals going forward.
Patrick, can you just give those dates again, please?
Yes, that certificate was canceled on January 31st, 2019. My apologies.
Okay, thank you. There are any questions?
I do. Officer Whitaker, would it be safe to assume, given the address of this one compared to the last one, that this is in the same complex?
They are, yes.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any questions.
Okay, then I'm just gonna ask the same question I asked before.
Sure.
you weren't allowed to do short-term rentals in this community. They accepted a short-term rental from you.
Yes.
Okay, all right. And no certificate.
No, what stood out to me again is that there were references to our city ordinance in two of the appellant's listings. So they were aware that there was an ordinance for the city of Palm Springs.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Chair, I would just remind the board is to make a decision based on the evidence presented for each listing independently. And not to consider evidence cumulatively across the three items.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thanks, Officer Whitaker. So at this time, I'd like to open the appeal hearing. The appellant is invited to speak up to 10 minutes. Any members of the public who desire to speak at the appeal hearing shall have 3 minutes to speak. If any member of the public that testifies, the appellant will be invited to provide a rebuttal up to 2 minutes. Once again, Mr. Silva, please state your name.
Yeah, let's see.
And I am Leslie Benjamin, counsel for Mr. Silva.
Thank you. Okay, your 10 minutes can start.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. So Mr. Whitaker did testify that there were reviews from people who were staying for shorter stays. As you will observe, all of those dates were from the year 2018. As the gentleman from the Special Program Compliance already stated, the short-term rental certificate had expired in January 2019. So there appears to be no violations there. As to Mr. Whitaker's reference to city ordinance, these are items such as saying that trash needs to be disposed of in proper bins. That's not really something that would cause a reasonable inference that this is being presented as a short-term rental. These are just things that anybody in the city of Palm Springs is required to do. And as with the other rentals, the booking was not completed. Mr. Silva communicated with Mr. Whitaker saying on May 14th, as he did previously, hi Jace, apparently your booking didn't go through because you are trying to book less of 28 days. We are only doing long-term rentals. And aside from a calendar, there doesn't appear to be anything on the screenshots provided in the staff report that would indicate that this is in any way being presented as a vacation rental.
Okay, thank you. Thought there was a mention of. This is Casa Alegre, right?
That's
I believe
correct.
That's the one. And was there, I'm looking at the advertisement, but I don't see, I thought there was a mention that there was a 4-night minimum, but I don't see that on here. Perhaps maybe I'm overlooking it. Again, I see responses from guests that have stayed in October, in June of this year, April of this year, for a short period of time. And there was also a mention that there was a rental certificate that had expired as well. So I'm not going to say anymore. I'm still confused with all of this because I still see the reviews on it for short stays, and the community doesn't allow for a short-term stay as well. Requires a minimum of 28 days or longer for a long-term rental. And we have plenty of reviews here stating that they've stayed at the property for a short term. So I'm not quite sure. I'm kind of confused again because we've got all these reviews, and I believe there's also a mention of a request to do a report from Airbnb that was snapshot as only for long term and not a full report. So is there a reason why the full report wasn't provided to the city?
If I could, just first, Mr. Chair, address some of the reviews that you were referencing.
Sure.
Directing the board's attention to page 29 of the staff report. Yes, I did notice that they say next to the date stayed over a week. But if you look at the actual text from, say, Stephen, who refers to October 2023, stayed over a week, the words he says are stayed a month. Same with Deanne of Sarasota, Florida, had a wonderful month here. Sarah, again, it indicates stayed over a week for April 2023. I stayed here for a month. So if the board is, so respectfully, if the board is simply looking at the parts that say stayed over a week, it doesn't necessarily paint the full picture.
Okay, but back to my question, why
Yes.
wasn't a full report provided from Airbnb?
I will defer to Mr. Silva for the response to that.
Okay, thank you.
And when you say a full report,
Regarding
Regarding-
all the stays on the property, for the length of time that each person stayed. So, as Officer Whitaker had mentioned, you could have requested a report from, from Airbnb, which would list all the stays and how long each individual stayed during that time.
I didn't think about it, but yes, we print every person or every visitor with all the dates that it shows that it's monthly or more, 150 days, or they're all long-term rentals. Regarding the
Yes, I think Mr. Silva is referring to the documentation that we did submit to the city showing, as I said, several long-term rentals ranging from 31 nights to up to 128 nights.
Right. Several to me refers to just 3 to 5, as opposed to, it appears that there's been more than several folks that have stayed on this property. So I think it would have been easier if there was a full report that we could have, Mr. Silva could have then supported his comments that these folks did stay for more than 28 nights. That's where the confusion comes in, is if we had a list of all the folks that stayed in the property and the length of their stay, it would have been easier to support your defense on this. So, thank you.
I do have a question in regards to the booking that generated this violation, December 18th through the 27th, that is less than 28 nights. And I just want to verify that Mr. Gaston and his husband are the only ones that have access to their Airbnb account to secure these bookings. Is that correct?
yes, but in the past, it was management that it was the problem that I mentioned before, and I, like he say, or I can't remember, was saying that it's posting the listing, the license, and it's we don't do short-term rentals, and we didn't remove it. I'm agreed with that. It's a mistake.
So who accepted the booking of December 18th through the 27th?
I don't recall, probably it was me.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
I don't have a question, but just a comment to follow up on what you were just saying, because I think it was your testimony right now that your intent was only for long-term rentals. So just a comment to you that regardless of what we decide here and what we've already decided, won't change that. You can still rent your property for 29 days or more. Okay. Nothing else.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't ask whether or not the public had any comments, but.
There are no public commenters.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we can close this part of the public hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I'll open it up to the board. Any comments, questions? Could I get a motion?
I'll move that we uphold the fine and the suspension of the short-term rental certificate.
It's the ineligibility.
ineligibility. Thank you for the correct grammar.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Board Secretary, will you please take roll call?
Vice Chair Parker,
Aye.
Board Member Herman,
Aye.
Board Member Hein,
Aye.
Board Member Curran.
Aye.
And Chair Vasily.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0 to adopt the resolution upholding the administrative decision.
Mr. Silva, the city will be in touch with you regarding the fine. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it. Okay. Then move on to the next agenda item. Approval of the minutes. Next item, which is the approval of the minutes from the meeting on May 22nd, 2024, June 26th, 2024, and July 24th, 2024. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
It's a three-fer.
It is a brief break.
So we weren't here for the.
I think we're gonna have to do that.
Well, I think she said it. What did you say in your comments, Cassie, that they can?
Yeah, in the
make
email.
the determination you want to.
Yeah, you would have to read it because it would have to be a quorum, so. Even though you weren't present, you would still be able to read the minutes and or watch the videos in order to vote on the minutes.
So will we not vote on the minutes then tonight?
That's correct, Chair. So when the board approves the minutes, you're approving the accuracy of the minutes, so you do not need to have been part of the board to verify that. Now, of course, as Cassandra mentioned, you may wish to read the minutes, or watch the videos to confirm that the minutes are accurate. If it is the case that a number of you feel that you cannot do that at this time, then I would recommend that you might consider continuing that item so that you can have a quorum.
Can we continue this till the next board meeting and
Yes.
ask the board members to review it? Okay, can we do that?
Yes, we'll put it on September 10th.
Okay, thank you. Okay, this time we have a portion of the meeting set aside for general comments, announcements, requests of staff, and or other issues of concern from the members of the Administrative Appeals Board. Any comments, concerns? Okay. This time is set aside for the city attorney to update the board on important matters initiated by the staff or previously requested by the board. Do you have any?
I have Albert's name on there.
That's okay. Yeah, that's why I stopped.
Sorry.
I have no comments.
Okay,
Chair.
thank you. And city clerk report.
Next meeting, September 25th at 5:30. We do have the alternate that will be joining us next meeting due to an absence, and then again, if you are gonna be absent at any meeting, just let us know so we can have the alternate join us.
Okay, the time is 7:33 and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.